Welcome to A.U.M. Ask Us Marketing. I'm your host, Kalli Fedusenko of Kalli Collective. Kalli Collective is a digital marketing agency focused on building relationships between financial advisors and their target audience using data to create websites, online content, and ads. We build relationships first and grow your numbers second. If that's an approach that resonates with you, then make sure to sign up for our emails and learn more about us at the following QR code. Our episode today is brought to you by the Financial Planning Association, otherwise known as the FPA. The FPA is a great resource center providing education, support, and networking opportunities for financial advisors like you. Your voice isn't just how you speak, it's how you connect. From podcast to videos to client onboarding, the tone and quality of your voice can make or break trust. Jodi, a seasoned voice actor and sound branding expert, is going to help us tap into the power of voice to build emotional connection, convey credibility, and elevate your brand presence without ever sounding fake or forced. So please join with me, Jodi Krangle.
Hello.
Hi, Jodi. Say hello again. It sounded so great.
Hello.
It's a rainy day here in Nashville.
Here too.
Is it okay? I was going to ask you.
Yeah, we got a thunderstorm. Yeah, pretty nasty one, actually.
Yeah.
I was worried I was going to lose power. That was earlier, though. We're good now.
Okay, good. So, Jodi, man, I can't talk today. Jodi, let's talk about why voice matters. It's so underrated but powerful. Can you talk about like how voice is incorporated in a brand's identity?
Yeah, it's pretty important. I think sound in general is really important for people to pay attention to, and often they don't, which is really unfortunate. It's something that people should be paying attention to. They should be speaking with intention. They should be speaking from the heart, I would hope. And communication is one of those really big things that a lot of people just don't give much thought to.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is tone of voice. A lot of it is, the way that your body moves when you speak. A lot of people use their hands. And, I do that as well. And that's actually really a good thing for voiceover because it really makes you authentic. It gets the energy in there. But it depends. It depends on what your style is. Everyone has a different style.
Yeah. I didn't realize how much I talked with my hands until until I did some public speaking and then saw the videos and then I was like, oh, wow.
It's a good thing, though. I think it allows you to tune into how your body is moving and how you are expressing yourself.
Yeah.
And I know, for instance, when I'm in the booth doing a voiceover job, the movements of my hand really help me to discuss authentically how I'm putting across a particular point.
Okay.
So, for instance, if I'm doing lists, a lot of times clients will give us a script and it'll say, this and this and this, right? If I'm doing this and this and this, then I'm actually making those points really effectively.
Right.
If I'm not moving my hands, it tends to just be glossed over, this and this and this, right? Like if you don't give it the pause or the meaning or the emphasis that it needs,
right,
it's easy to let it just be thrown away.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're using your hands, you're keeping stock.
Right. That's really fascinating already. Like, wow, interesting. So let's talk about the trust factor with the voice. How can specifically financial advisors, since that's who we're talking to, how can they use their voice to build trust and connection with their clients and prospects?
It's a big question because a lot of this has to do with being comfortable with public speaking. So be comfortable communicating is one of the big ones. But I would also say that people who upspeak have a bit more of a problem in that area because we tend to we tend to trust people.
Mhm.
This is going to sound really strange, but we tend to trust people with deeper voices.
I've
And
heard
we
that.
tend, yeah, and we
Yes.
tend to trust people who end their sentences down instead of in a question,
Mhm.
because it shouldn't be a question. If you're relaying information, it's not a question. You
Yeah.
need to end that sentence.
I watched a whole session on sales,
Hmm.
and they had talked about how women in particular, it's
Hmm.
harder
Yeah.
because of our voices are higher, and typically we go up at the end of our sentences.
Yeah, it's less typical for, I think it's less typical that women
Yeah.
do that and more generational. I think it's
Oh,
like the millennials and the younger that are doing the
uh-huh.
upspeak a lot.
Okay. I was gonna
And
ask you what upspeak meant. So,
yeah, I just did
okay.
it for you right
Yep.
there.
Yep.
La la, and
Uh-huh.
this and that, and and here, and that's upspeak. So if you're
Interesting.
always ending your sentences on a question, you never sound definitive.
Hmm. Okay, because I think about this, well, it's hard to think about it in the moment. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
How do you train yourself not to do that?
It's hard, and it's kind of like trying to train yourself to not put filler words into your sentences,
Yes.
which I do all the time.
Okay.
So I know. I say a lot.
Uh-huh.
I can't help myself. And the upspeak isn't all bad. In
Mhm.
some cases, it's there's more coming
Mm.
on this sentence. There's more
Mhm.
coming, and we're going to talk about this as well, and that, and then we're going to end.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not all bad.
Yeah.
It's just if you're always ending your sentences on an up note, you're
Mm.
not landing that meaning.
Mhm.
And part of that is giving yourself pause.
Yeah.
Part of that is not rushing,
Yeah.
not speaking really fast. I will also say that when you're speaking on a microphone,
Mhm.
part of the problem women have is that really microphones have not been designed for women's voices.
Hmm. That's
In
interesting.
general, they were first developed for men,
Okay.
for deeper voices, for
Yeah.
resonant
Yeah.
voices. And so
Most
a
things
lot,
were created for men,
yeah,
unfortunately.
well, it happens a lot. Yeah. So when women are speaking on a microphone,
Yeah.
often they're not choosing the right microphone for them,
Mm.
and the microphone they're using is making them sound shrill,
Okay.
and that
Okay.
can be an issue. So you
Yeah.
need to find a microphone that works for you and that makes your voice sound definitive and
Mm.
as resonant as possible. Not
Right.
everyone has a resonant voice, and that's
Yeah.
fine. No one
Yeah.
needs to be identical.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of different ways to make communication effective. I'm just giving you some
Right.
ideas.
Right. Of course.
Hmm.
I mean, you were talking about filler words. I find laughing, they
Hmm.
kind of like to put everyone at ease. That's usually my go-to. And that one's really hard for me because I have to think about, okay, it's okay to be
Yeah.
serious. Like, yeah.
I actually had
I just did
someone,
it.
yeah, but I get it. I get it. I actually
Yeah.
had someone comment on my podcast when they were listening to it that they said I
Mhm.
laughed too often.
Mm.
And first of all, I'm like, well, okay, so that's just me and
Yeah.
screw
Right.
you.
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
I just want to be me. I'm not here to have an interview. I'm here to have a discussion.
Yeah.
And for me, that is my style. So
Mhm.
I don't think anyone needs to change their style.
Yeah.
Work with it.
Yeah.
Work with it.
Right.
Don't change it because someone decided they didn't like your way of communicating.
Right. That's true. That is so true.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so there's obviously like tone and there's different things that we can put into place. Where does sound and voice, where is that incorporated into someone's brand? Like, can you give us some examples? Obviously, if you're doing a podcast, that one's a
Sure.
no-brainer. But
Yeah, of
where are
course.
some other places that we
Uh,
should be thinking about it?
yeah, all sorts of things. I know that I work with a lot of financial clients that are doing
Mhm.
internal videos.
Mhm.
So they're doing branding videos internally just to make sure their people know who they are. They're doing
Mm.
instructional videos so that people know how to get their healthcare benefits or how to
Right.
get their 401k figured out.
Yeah.
Or because a lot of these companies have HR departments and they need to let people know what's expected of them as an employee and how
Yeah.
they can benefit from the benefits they're getting, these
Mhm.
kinds of things. And there's also external videos, of course.
Mhm.
So you have a brand voice that would present your information to the public in general in
Mhm.
a way that fits your brand.
Okay.
And, it's different for every financial institution.
Sure.
Each one has a different type of voice that they might use.
Yeah.
And there's also streaming stuff.
Mhm.
So any streaming ads, any commercials,
Mhm.
all of that outward facing stuff,
Yeah.
often the voice helps it land better
Sure.
because if you're thinking about the sound of your company and you're
Mm.
matching it with your brand, that's more memorable. I
Mm.
often will say that the visuals give you the information, but the sound is the heart.
Mhm.
So you remember how things make you feel.
Yeah.
And that's what a voice, that's what sound in general does for you.
Mhm. Can you hear that?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured.
That's okay. That's okay. Dogs will be
Speaking of
dogs.
authenticity,
Yeah. It's all good.
I knew as soon as he came over and he opened the curtain on his own, I was like,
Hmm.
"Uh-oh."
Yeah.
Anyways, for everyone listening and watching, that is our newest pup, Lego. He just joined our family in November.
Such a cute name. I love it.
Don't step on him.
What kind of dog?
He is a standard poodle,
Okay.
or
Okay.
at least that's what they told us. He's from a rescue, so
Yeah, he's a deeper voice than I would have expected for a poodle.
uh-huh. Yeah, he's a big poodle.
Okay. Good for him.
Still has the fro.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, okay, so we've got videos, streaming, podcasting.
Hmm.
What about like on the phone? Is that something that we should, be thinking about how we come across on our phone
Definitely.
calls? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. On hold is one of those places that I think a lot of people don't pay much attention to, and they
Yeah.
really should.
Yeah.
Because when someone's on the phone, and especially when they're on hold, they're
Mm-hmm.
likely not very happy with you.
Very true.
Yeah. So if you want to calm them down,
Yeah.
then a soothing voice that fits your brand if that's what your brand is. I mean, it
Right.
depends. If your brand is not soothing, then don't put a soothing voice on your on hold.
Yeah.
But if you're a high-end jewelry store, don't
Mhm.
put 80s hairband on your
Mhm.
music on your on hold. Like that just doesn't fit your brand and it's going to
Yeah.
annoy people.
Right.
So choose good music,
Yeah.
choose music that fits your brand, choose
Yeah.
a voice that can do little ads in between that are also fitting your brand and generally calm people down.
Mm. Mhm.
You can totally do that when you're on hold with
Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of like, okay, sound and branding, what are some different kinds of sound brands? I don't know how else to say that, but
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I mean, I don't do work mostly in the sports area because
mhm.
that's not really my wheelhouse. So
Mhm.
someone who would do the commercials for a Nike brand, let's say, would be different from the stuff that I do, which is a
Yeah.
lot of healthcare and finance and tech.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's totally it just depends on what your brand is and every brand is different. Like the brand for Verbo is different
Mhm.
from the brand for Airbnb.
Right.
They have a different sound.
Yeah.
They might skew younger or it depends
Mm.
on who they're focused on. Who's your
Mhm.
audience? Who
Yeah.
would they find that they would accept that information from more readily?
Mhm. Okay.
So if you're for instance promoting senior living,
Yeah.
don't have a 20-year-old do your commercials.
So true. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
think about it, right? Also, as much as I hate to say it,
Yeah.
the money right now is with Gen X and above. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're constantly focusing on the 18 to 25-year-olds,
Right.
I mean, it depends on your brand, obviously.
Right.
Like if that's who you're selling to, then never mind me, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're trying to sell a washing machine,
Mm-hmm.
you're not selling to 18 to 25-year-olds. Why have an 18 to 25-year-old voice it?
Right.
That
Right.
doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just one of those strange things in advertising. I think
Yeah.
that a lot of people just don't pay enough attention to. They're very focused on the visuals.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I get it. It's the low hanging fruit. It's the
Yeah.
first thing you think about. But if you don't pair that with audio that goes with it,
Mm-hmm.
that fits your brand, then there's going to be a disconnect between the two. And for some reason, your audience isn't going to trust what you're saying to them.
Yeah.
And they're not going to know why, really,
Right. Yeah.
because it's unconscious for all of
Yeah.
us.
That's very true. Yeah.
Hmm.
You immediately have a feeling of, do I like this person or not? Or do I like this brand or not?
Do I believe this brand?
That's even
Right?
better. Yeah.
I mean, because you're asking people to spend money.
Yeah.
When you're asking people to spend money, let's be as honest as possible
Yeah.
because that's people's BSO meters are so high these days. They
Well, they have
just
to be.
are. Yeah, they have to be. Exactly. It's so hard to know when you're getting the right information. And
Yeah.
so our advertising needs to play into that. They need to know who they're talking to.
Right. Let's go back to the microphones. First, Deirdre, yes, totally agree. Did not know about the microphones and female voices.
Hmm.
And along that thought process, what are some good mics for women?
That is a good question. And I think really it's very individual. So
Sure.
you need to go into a music store, you need
Mhm.
to find a mic, you need to listen to yourself on it, you need to
Mhm.
record yourself on it.
Mm.
Because without that recording, you're not going to know really how you sound.
Yeah.
Because recording is as objective as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
It's hard for you to listen to yourself on a microphone and say, oh, I like how that sounds, but you're not getting other people's opinions on it.
Mm.
You're not getting an outside objective opinion.
Right.
So the best way to do that is to record your voice on that mic.
Mm.
This one that I'm using is
Mhm.
a HyperX USB condenser mic.
Okay.
Very cheap. It's
Yeah.
like $150 or something like that.
Yeah.
I am on a Windows machine, so because I'm on a PC, I can decide what color I want this to be.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's awesome. It is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And also if you're on a Mac, you can still use the same mic. It
Yeah.
comes in this black version and a white version, but it will
Mhm.
scroll through the rainbow.
Mm.
You just
Okay.
don't have the control that I do.
Right. And now, when we were doing our run through before this,
Hmm.
you gave me a tip about my microphone, and I was like, let's talk about that on the live stream.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember, I think I was asking you, do I have a condenser one? Or what's the other one called?
I think you
Dynamic?
have a dynamic mic.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure your mic is dynamic. I'm not positive because I'm
Yeah.
not there to see it,
Right.
but yeah, part of the problem I think a lot of
Mm.
podcasters have specifically is that they are not close enough to their mics. And they don't understand if it's a top address or a side
Mm.
address mic.
Mhm.
So yours is a side address mic. So you want to be you want to be into the side of it, but point it at the
That's right.
corner of your mouth. So
That's
be
right. I
closer and
remember what we
point it at
said
the
now.
corner of your mouth so that you don't pop your peas all the time, right? Like
How's
if
this
I'm,
sound?
that sounds good.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
everyone? See how different that is?
Yeah.
I tend to keep my mic lower because to keep it out of the shot.
Yes.
Um,
You could actually move
Yeah.
that just a tiny bit away. Just a tiny bit. Yeah, probably right there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, you just got to listen to your sound and see what sounds better in your
Right.
ears. But yeah, if I'm like, you can tell if I'm right on this, then I'm popping my peas like crazy. Like you can
I
hear
see it
that,
now.
right?
Yep.
So if you're
Mhm.
pointing it at the corner of your mouth, you're not going to blow across it the same way.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really the pop of air that comes from your mouth when it's
Yeah.
that close to the mic and
Yeah.
right on.
Okay. Give us some other tips because this is so fascinating to me and so like not what I do. I
Mm.
know I sat in something once and they were like, "Oh, if you put fabric around you so there's no sort of echo." And they gave us an example. Like he just put like a blanket over his desk and
Hmm.
it was incredible the
Yeah.
difference that that made.
Yeah. So there's a combination of things at work there. I'm on a condenser mic, so if I
Okay.
really had a very treated room, it would
Mhm.
sound even better.
Mm,
But because I'm close enough to my mic, you're not hearing the room.
okay.
You're not hearing the echo. You're not hearing the bouncing off
Yeah.
of audio off of hard surfaces.
Yeah.
So really, the being closer to your mic can solve a lot of that problem.
Mm.
But also, something else that I think a lot of people forget is that you want to use headphones or earbuds when you're doing
Oh.
any interview or something on a podcast,
Oh.
because then you can turn off echo cancellation.
Okay.
So, echo cancellation, when it's on,
Mhm.
does not allow people to talk over each other.
Mm.
It will mute someone or
Yes,
suppress
I have
someone.
experienced that on phone calls, not on
Yes,
interviews,
yeah.
but I'm
So
always
it
like, "I have no
happens.
idea what you just said to me."
Yeah, yeah. So that's what Zoom does on
Yeah.
if you don't turn on the musician setting, I think.
Oh,
So that's their sound suppression. It
okay.
what it does is if I was listening to you through my monitors, my
Yeah.
actual speakers, then my mic is here, my speakers are blaring out what you said to me.
Mm.
And if I'm trying to communicate with you at the same time, it needs to block those speakers
Mm.
because they're
Okay.
out there. They're in
Yeah.
the right. So if
Yeah.
I'm only hearing you in my ears, then
Yeah.
there's no suppression needed.
Hmm.
That's what echo
Interesting.
cancellation does. It makes it
Okay.
possible for you to have a conversation, even if you're listening through
Right.
speakers,
Right.
and it's going through your whole room.
Okay. Okay.
So headphones with echo cancellation off are always
Yeah.
better. You're going to get way better sound.
Okay. This is so interesting. Does it matter Bluetooth or wired? Does that make any sort of difference?
Well, okay, Bluetooth
Yeah.
unfortunately can cause some issues.
Okay.
With iPods specifically because they're constantly trying to connect with the computer. And
Mm.
sometimes they'll disconnect and reconnect, and you can get some
Mhm.
pretty bad audio from that. I've
Mhm.
had that experience on my podcast, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
you do the best you can, but it's not the greatest. So
Yeah.
I would really suggest wired in if at all
Okay.
possible.
All right.
So what I've done for my earbuds right
Yeah.
now, I'm wearing Bose noise canceling earbuds right
Okay.
now. They're in my ear, but I have a really long cord, like
Mhm.
really, really long cord that goes all the way up through my arm here and then around, and it snaps into the connector on my earbuds. So what
Ooh.
that means is I can then put everything behind me and bring
Yeah.
it up like this instead of
Yeah. Okay.
having to wear it up front,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just given me some extra, like you can see sort of I have my earbuds here.
All right. Now
Yeah.
this is, maybe a little too in the weeds, but my my ears I feel are on the smaller side.
Hmm.
And I have such trouble finding, headphones that don't hurt. Do
Hmm.
you have any sort of recommendation around?
Um, Behringer, I think
Okay.
Behringer makes some really good ones that have a very soft pad. So
Mm-hmm.
you could use those, or you
Yeah.
could you because within your head earbuds,
Yeah.
you can buy different sized
Right. Yeah.
inserts,
Yeah.
right? So try the smallest
Yeah.
one.
I mean,
Try
and to be honest, I haven't used earbuds in so long now.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure it's a completely different, options out there
Yeah.
than it was at the time that I'm like, I can't, it hurts so bad.
Yeah, yeah. You just need better equipment. That's really
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
So true.
But you can buy different connectors or different, I don't know what you'd call them,
Yeah. I
different
know what you're talking about, like the little rubber piece.
the little silicone piece that
Yeah.
goes over the part that goes in your ear. You can buy smaller ones.
Okay.
In
Yeah.
fact, most headphones or earbuds that you buy will
Mhm.
come with a pack that are from
Mhm.
large to small,
Mhm.
and you can just try the ones that you like.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So mics to the side,
Hmm.
wired earbuds or headphones.
Hmm.
Um, don't upspeak. And there was something else. No
Pausing.
pausing. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, pausing it's hard to pause. And
it
actually,
is.
Deirdre, you can talk. So Deirdre's leaving some comments for us, and
Hmm.
she does professional speaking, like helping you come up with your content, right?
Hmm.
And that's something that we've talked about before, is how you should have pausing in your presentations.
Yeah,
And that's hard. It's hard
it
to do
is.
because you want to fill the space, especially if
We
you're on
totally
the
want to do that.
stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is difficult, and I am by no means perfect at it.
Right. Of course.
Most of what I do is reading someone else's script. So
Mm,
for me, what I need to be doing is looking at that script and making it authentically as me as possible.
sure.
So it's an
Sure.
interpretation, it's a creative interpretation,
Right.
but it's less public speaking. It's more speaking a script.
Yeah.
You know,
So
generally I
so
don't
do they
write them.
tell you in your scripts, like, how
Mhm.
long to pause for, or is it kind of, like, up to you?
Well, when it comes to a script that I'm giving, I can
Mhm.
do a pause, and then when they're adding it to a video, they can lengthen or shorten that pause as much as they want
Oh, that's
because
true.
they need to
I
put
didn't
it to
think about that.
picture,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So it's all about what they want. Really, it's
Yeah.
not about what I
Yeah.
want.
That's okay. I didn't even think about the fact that they can adjust that.
Yeah. Yeah. They totally can. Yeah.
So what are some common mistakes that people make with their voice? And what are ways we can fix it?
Ah, wow. I mean, we talked a lot about how you
Yeah.
could fix some of them.
That's true.
A lot of filler words, a lot of
Mhm.
filler words. And I think that pauses, taking your time to think about what you're saying can really
Mhm.
help with that.
Mhm.
Being really nervous and talking very fast can be a
Mhm.
problem. And in that case, really what you want to do is take a moment and take your breath in and let it out.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
soft sigh, like just a letting out of breath, can really
Mhm.
calm you down and allow you to get quieter
Sure.
or to not necessarily quieter, but to slow down your speech.
Mm. And,
And
from
yeah.
a
Hmm.
video editing aspect, it's the same. I would rather someone have a pause
Hmm.
than be filling in, because it's way easier to cut it so it's not as noticeable if they're paused. Although
Yeah.
I have found with editing, you move your head a lot and you don't
Yeah.
realize it.
Yes, that is so true. That is so true. Yeah, it really depends on where you are, and especially if you're moving your hands about,
Yeah,
you know, that becomes interesting for
right.
editing video.
Yes. And and also, again, with the speaking fast versus speaking slow, my husband, he's always telling me I talk too slow in my videos. He's like, I wish you would speed up. I personally think that it's a generational thing, and he's always watching YouTube videos, and so many of them, and they speed them up. I don't I don't know. I don't know if it's
Hmm.
mass opinion or if it's just a him thing, but
I think YouTube has shaped a lot of what we're used to seeing in
yes.
video. Yeah,
Yes.
I think it has. And so has Instagram and TikTok and
Very
all of
true.
that. So social media has really had a big impact on that. I don't
Yeah.
think that that can be, discounted at all.
Yeah. Well, I still like to think that I talk at a normal speed.
Well, it sounds fine to me. So
Thank you.
I've been here for what, 30 minutes now?
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
good. Then we're just gonna go with it's a him thing.
Okay.
Um, okay, so we're talking a lot about, like, how to sound professional and sound good, but then let's also talk about, because you've also talked a little bit about, well, don't change the way you communicate. How do we balance being a real human and being authentic with, I'm going to present myself in a professional manner?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
I think that we often think we need to be perfect. And
Oh,
and
yeah,
we,
I
we
do.
do we do not. We don't need to be perfect. People don't want us to be perfect.
Yeah.
I think there was a study or something where they actually had someone demonstrating a coffee machine and they
Mm.
were trying to sell this coffee machine. And
Mhm.
when the woman first demonstrated it with like perfect precision and it went through just fine, no
Yeah.
problems at all, they were okay. They didn't make a whole lot
Mm.
of sales. So when they had the woman like spill some coffee,
Hmm.
they just had her spill some coffee and
Yeah.
apologize and then move on with the rest of they sold way more coffee
Oh,
makers.
that's so interesting.
Yes, because we want humans to be human.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's that BS meter. Is that what you called it?
Yes, the
Yeah. It's BS
BSO-meter.
meter.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So perfect people
Yeah.
are not people that we want to. I mean, maybe they are people we want to emulate, but we don't
Mhm.
ever think we're going to get there.
Yeah. Right.
Also, perfect people aren't perfect people.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like they make themselves look perfect on camera or whenever, but in general in their lives, they're
Yeah.
not perfect people. There are no perfect people.
Right. Yeah.
So stop trying to be perfect.
Right. Well, I don't know that I'll ever stop, but as a recovering perfectionist, it's a battle. So Jodi, you do voice acting. Do you do any sort of voice coaching? Like, tell us about what your services are, and if someone has questions about voice, can they reach out to you?
Well, I don't do coaching. That
Okay.
is a decision on my part
Sure.
because I really prefer not to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm happy to talk with people in email. They can always reach out if they have questions. I'm happy to answer questions, but I don't
Yeah.
have any formal coaching anything.
Sure.
So that's good. I do voiceovers
Mhm.
for commercials and corporate narration generally, anything
Mm.
that's 5 minutes of finished audio or less.
Okay.
I've done some documentary work. I've done some in-show narration work,
Yeah.
which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really where my wheelhouse is.
Mhm.
I'm in the healthcare, financial, and tech world a lot of
Mm.
times, but I'm
Mhm.
hoping to get more into travel and tourism, which I
Mm.
really love working in as well.
Yeah.
So kind of hoping to branch off. I've
Yeah.
done some in that already, but I would love to do more. It's just so much fun. Because you're the first point of contact of
Okay.
someone deciding to go to where you're telling them to go.
Right.
And that just seems so fantastic to me. Like
Yeah.
it lights my fire. As does advertising. Advertising in general lights my
What
fire.
about podcast intros?
Yeah, I appreciate them a lot, and I
Yeah.
think that they are a great way to have your audio brand on full
Mm.
display.
Mhm.
So even if it's you doing the
Mhm.
intro, you really should think very seriously about the type of music that you're using
Mm.
and how does that emulate your brand?
Yeah.
How does that fit with your brand?
Okay.
And it's not just your brand, but it's also who you're reaching out to. So who's
Mm.
your audience? It should be a
Mhm.
nice little Venn diagram of the mix between who you are and who your audience is.
Mm. Okay.
So yeah, it's a tricky balance. It is a
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also have a podcast
Mhm.
that talks about the power of sound and how it influences us.
Mm.
And I've been doing that for over 5 years now. It's called audio.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called audio branding.
Okay.
And I release a new episode every Wednesday morning.
Wow,
So,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
5 years.
5 years. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's a long
Yeah.
time for a podcast.
Yeah. And I'm continuing to do it. I actually don't talk to voice actors. I talk to the people who hire us because I want to
Oh,
know how they tick. I
yes,
want
that's
to know
even
what
more
makes them tick.
fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's important. I think also that the people that I talk to need to be able to explain to their end client why
Mm.
sound is important because
Mhm.
we take it for granted a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. This was so great. I really appreciate all the tips you gave us and the
Thank you.
conversation. And for those and for those listening, you can go to voiceoversandvocals.com. If I'm guessing that you can find Jodi's podcast there. Is that right,
Yeah.
Jodi?
Yeah, the
Okay.
podcast is there as well. Yeah.
You can find her podcast there. And if you need some advertising, she's there.
Happy to help. Also, if I'm not the right voice, I
Yeah.
can point them in the right direction
Mm,
to a voice type that they're looking for. I have a lot
perfect.
of really talented friends.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jodi. It was such a pleasure to have you here.
Likewise, this is
Yeah,
great. Thanks so much for having me.
absolutely. And for those joining, make sure you join us next Monday. We are going to be talking about winning sales with writing with Derek Pollard. He was one of our top 10 episodes from 2024. So we've invited him to come back and give us some more tips because we just can't get enough. So I'm looking forward to that on Monday. Of course, it's at noon Central, live at lunch. And until then, I hope you have a fantastic week. And hopefully I'll see you on Monday.